Hey there. It is Tuesday, February 14th. Yeah, why I blanked on the date, I don't know. And yeah, this is kind of a late update for our creative week, but thank you for joining me anyway. So let me explain. Not that we have to explain where we are or what we're doing, but I had one of those weekends that just kind of went off the rails. Normally, I film these on Saturday so that they're all ready to go on Sunday, or at worst case, I'll film it on Sunday itself. Well, Saturday kind of got away from me. Strangely enough, I like left work early, but then, because we were a little slow, and that just like completely discombobulated my brain. I could not figure out what to work on, and I think I had woken up on the wrong side of the bed that morning. kind of thing. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take a nap and reset. And then I did, but I never got back to doing the video. And then on Sunday, I ended up staying in bed most of the day because I had a horrible migraine, and that was just miserable. No one was happy. Um, and then Monday, I was back to my usual. I had meal preps, and I had places to be. I had book club. I had a craft night to go to. I mean, it was just, yeah. It was one of those days where truly, or one of those weekends where it truly got away from me. At least as far as recording the video. Now, I did stay fairly caught up on um, the art journal, so let's get into that. So again, this is the February flowers, the 28 February flowers, and I'm doing little half pages for these. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, I did show you the lily of the valley ish kind of things over here. Yeah. Here. Ta-da! Yeah, there we go. There we go. And then the wearable, which was the boutonniere. If not, well, there you go. That's the other two prompts. I don't remember where I stopped. Um, and I don't go back and watch these again. So the next prompt was musical. Okay. And so that's this one here. And you're like, what, Beauty and the Beast? No, I didn't think about that one at first. No, what I thought of actually was the song You Don't Bring Me Flowers Anymore. Neil Diamond and Barbara Streisand. Great song, bittersweet. And it just kind of put me in the mood to draw this, vase with a dying rose and the petals falling. And I was really happy with the way that turned out. The next, coincidentally, the next prompt was vase. So I just drew a fun little bouquet of kind of a artsy silver roses. They're called sterling roses. They're kind of a purplish gray. They're really pretty. I used to have a coworker who grew them, and they were just gorgeous. In a little short squat vase. I think those are so fun sometimes. So yeah, those were those two prompts. And then the next two prompts I combined because I missed a day, because I was tied up. And so they were bird and fiesta. So I have two birds of paradise flowers, tropical flowers, clinking margarita glasses, at a party. Because why not? Why not indeed? The next prompt, can you guess? It's not ivy, it was vines. So yeah, I did like overlapping ivy vines, and just to have some play around with that. Next was Australia, and I'm like, oh gosh, that's something. And so I looked up Australian flowers because I didn't have a reference to start with. And literally the first ones that came up were these things called Banksia. I'm guessing that's how they're pronounced. And at first, I found this overhead shot, which just looks like this big old round puffball with white little flowers and then these stamens, and then the center with the leaves radiating out. But then as I scrolled down, I could see they were like this big cone of a flower. And it was just so cool. So I drew those, had a lot of fun with it. The next two prompts I combined again, because again, it's been one of those weeks, y'all. Was circle and goldenrod. So we have a little wreath type shape with some goldenrod flowers. Yeah. And then the last one, so for yesterday, hearts, um, I did little heart shapes made up of a rosebud, like just a simplified stylized rosebud, and the leaf. So they kind of make the V shape or the heart shape. Yeah, so that was my answer to that. Um, Today, even though it's Valentine's Day today, as I'm filming this, the prompt is actually Van Gogh. So yeah, I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to do about that. Painting wise, you can't really see it very well here because it's just pencils right now, but I have Georgia, which is state number 4, drawn out. And then here is how New Jersey ended up. So New Jersey is the home or the birthplace of the light bulb. Didn't really, I guess I never really thought that Thomas Edison lived in New Jersey when he did his inventing. And also the movie projector. Also the home of the zipper, which is why there's a big zipper there. And that kind of relates to the, that relates to the cocktail that goes with this page. They're also the home of cranberry bogs. They have one. Their state turtle is the bog turtle, and they have these cute little orange markings on them. The state flower is the violet, so it's got up there, and then the state bird is the eastern goldfinch. Oh, and the state tree is the red oak. Yeah, yeah, red oak, not maple, red oak. So yeah, that was fun. But I finally got that done, and then we got Georgia prepped. So I will start painting on it this week. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? So book club, for book club, or the book club that I went to yesterday, I guess I'll go ahead and include it, even though it's kind of a week and a little bit, but that's okay. We talked about Harry Carlin's Coattails, which is a book by a local author. I've read one of her other books before. Her name is June Titus, or I think it's June E. Titus is what she publishes under. And her first book that we did for last year was Banjo Man. And but this book, Harry Carlin's Coattails, is actually the first of a series of 5. It is technically YA historical adventure. And it was really fun to read. But then, I love reading YA books. They're so much fun. They're very low pressure, but I mean, but they're, if you're a grown up and you're like, oh, that's meant for kids, I can't read that. Do yourself a favor. Pick up one. Pick up a YA book. They're fun. Um, and then, so yeah, that happened. And then I have been continuing to work on my monsoon shawl. It's growing. It's growing. In fact, I'm at the end, or nearly at the end. I have a little bit left. Very little. It's a little tangly right here. But yeah, I have a little bit left of the first skein of yarn. So now I am adding in the second, a deeper pink, and I've started to fade it in. You can kind of see it running through these stitches here. That's because the way the pattern designer did it for the Tunisian crochet, and I don't know if this is a traditional way to do it for Tunisian since this is my first project, or if there's something else in the mix, but or if there are other ways to do it. But to fade it in on the return pass, because again, for Tunisian, you kind of pick up stitches all along the working edge and then you work them back off as you come back. So on that return pass, the working the stitches off of the needle, every other return pass you would add in the new color. So it's encapsulated within the original color. And of course, since it's a variegated yarn, it's like more pronounced, like it's really pronounced right here. Let me move my hands correctly. Where this darker pink is, but farther down, it blends in different spots a little bit better. So that was kind of fun. It's meant to fade in a little bit more, but because of yardage, it's just not going to happen. So I briefly split second considered ripping back several rows, which is a lot easier with Tunisian than others, but I really didn't want to do that, so I'm just going ahead and it will be what it will be. I'm not worrying about it. Because life is too short. Life is absolutely too short. But yeah, this will probably be the last row that I can get, that I can use with the original yarn. If I get to the end of the row, I'm winding up what little is left of the original skein. Yeah, if I get to the original, or if I get to the end of the row, I'll consider myself lucky. If I don't, then I will feed in the new yarn, and we'll just go from there. It really is that simple. Um, we there are a lot of things that are complicated in the world. Your creativity and crafting does not have to be one. Okay? Don't make it harder than it needs to be. Make yourself happy by all means. If it's gonna bug you, there are crafters out there who it would bother them to have such a short fade in. And they would be willing to rip back. I'm not. My philosophy is a finished stitch is a good stitch. Um, and I'm willing to accept mistakes. A friend, I've heard her teach a class before, and she called those little imperfections birthmarks or beauty marks on your project. And I just think that that's great. I think that's a fabulous way of looking at it. Oh, another thing I did is I have been on these paintings. I've been using these little mini palettes, and this is creative, but maybe not what we directly think of as creative, right? So I've been using these little mini palettes. They have 12 colors in each, and I had 3 sets. Um, and I ordered a couple more, and I'm like, and I just kind of had them laid out along the front of my easel, and I'm like, it's really kind of tedious in a way to go from one to the other, but the color groupings were really nice and beneficial, and so I also was like, I don't know what to do. So I searched around and I found an article online, a blog post, where a person in similar situation as I wanted to combine them. And so they got a larger palette, lined it with, popped out the tray inserts that were already in it, and then lined it with like the super tack tape, like the super sticky red tape, this double-sided tape, and then put their palettes in here, put the individual pans in. Now they put theirs in a color order. I chose not to, and here's why. Um, these palettes, apparently, I was reading the comments on her post, and somebody explained, and it does make sense, that the individual palettes, and they all come with little cards you can swatch, are meant to work together. They have like common pigment bases and different things in the color makeups that make them cooperate, basically. And so it seemed like a good idea to me, even though part of my brain was like, no, we have to put it in, rainbow order. Um, but I opted not to. I overrode that inclination because I want to be able to keep them in their palette groups. I will do a swatch for the inside of the cover of the tin. Um, in a moment, but I have enough room. You can see I have plenty of room. So I actually have enough room. I've got 5 palettes in here now. I've got space for 2 more along the bottom, and then I can fit 3 grouped as, pairs of 6s with a little gap in between so that like I can kind of see where one thing stops and another ends or begins. So yeah, I've got enough for another 5 palettes in here. I think this company, it's Prima Marketing, by the way, if you're interested in what the paints are. It's Prima Watercolors, Prima Marketing. They had a new name. They call them like Art Impressions or something by Prima. But anyway, if you were to look them up online, that's where you would find them. And I really love the quality of the watercolor, and I cannot actually find my tube watercolor paints because I did something with them. I put them somewhere while I was moving stuff around, and I have not rediscovered them. So I was like, you know what? If I just stick with the same manufacturer, I'm going to end up with the same quality paints throughout the project. That's like, I don't want to like switch midstream. And so that's why I was getting some more of the palettes, just so I'd have more color variation. And like the last two palettes I got were oh, I didn't mention the honeybee that was on there too, but it's okay. Um, on the painting for New Jersey. But but yeah, I got one that was called Woodlands and one that was called Terrain, and I thought those would be really good for the type of things that I'm painting right now. So yeah, that's been my creative week and a little bit. Todd has continued to work on the downstairs bathroom, which I point that way because that's where it is in the house. He's gotten the baseboard trim up. He's gotten the trim around the niche where the sink and mirror are, and the and around the door, and I mean, he's still got some other finishing stuff. I don't remember if he got the one around the window done or not, because I know he had to do a couple extra steps for that one. But basically, it's coming along, and we're really happy with the way it's turning out. And I love the blue. I love the blue. So yeah, it's just been really fun, and it's been a great week overall, minus the delays and the migraine and stuff like that. It happens. It happens. Um, and yeah, so I hope you have a great rest of your week. If you celebrate Valentine's Day or Single Awareness Day or Galentine's Day, which would have been yesterday, if you celebrate any of that, enjoy yourself. I chose to wear my red crocheted sweater that I made, um, just because why not? It's not quite cool enough for it today. Our temperatures are fluctuating as per usual, but yeah, no, we're doing well, and I wish you well. Do your best to make that time for creativity in your upcoming week, and I will see you next week. Bye.